Hello everyone, I'm AIAPI. So tonight, Google has released its new model, NanoBanana 2. So after a night of testing, I can first tell you a conclusion. If the current second version is compared to the previous Pro, is not so capable. It's about 80% to 91% of the original Pro. It's just that the difference is not that much, but it is definitely not as good as our original Pro. But he is relative to the one before us. Robert's first is a very big improvement. So this new model has several main advantages.
Here's a quick sponsor message. This AIAPI aggregation platform for domestic and international large models lets you access 500 plus AI model APIs at lower cost and with faster integration. Kling v3 is priced at $0.07, and the NanoBanana 2 costs $0.025 per call. Overall pricing is only 20% to 80% of the official rates, with token costs as low as RMB 0.05 per million. It also offers an online playground, so you can freely use text, image, and video models with unlimited concurrency. If a request fails, you'll be refunded. Just click the link in the video description to go directly there. If you want discounts or run into any issues, join our Discord community for prompt support, or add customer service and send the message 6 for one-on-one assistance. Alright, back to the video.
The first is that his spawn speed is very fast. In him just now, when it opens, when I go to use it, it can survive in seconds to generate an image. Then it may start to be done after the number of people uses it increases. Then it can also be proved that its speed far exceeds that of our Pro. The second is that its usage fee is very low. Let's take a look at the API interface price in our AI Studio. Then compare our Pro and 2. Then the price of 2 is only one of our original Pro. So it was originally 2, now it only needs 0.5. Normally, we wouldn't actually call this API. Usually we all use a domestic API interface. So in terms of price, if I ran an RG just now, it was 0.08 apiece. It is equivalent to saying that it is cheaper than the previous 0.3. 4 times faster, then it's about the same. Then if you want to prostitute for free, it's very simple. Let's go to our Google website. That is, this place in Gemini. Then we choose one ourselves to make a picture, and it's ready to use. Then there are some free prostitutions every day. So if you have many accounts, in fact, it is basically enough to use every day. Then it is recommended that you start running from thinking. Then if it doesn't work in the end, go run another fast. So if you Pro, basically, there is no one to run. Basically, you should be running faster. I just ran a bit. I think I have an account. You can run more than 10 tickets, fast 20 sheets. So if you have several accounts every day, it should be able to watch a lot. Okay, then by the way, I will provide you with a NanoBanana teleprompter website. So here, we can copy a large number of cases. It will also generate some teleprompters for your reference. You can use it. I think this website is still very easy to use. I have a lot of references to teleprompter. They are all from here. You can use it yourself. There are some recent teleprompters. When you get here, I will put this. The link is in my edit. You can see that you can use it yourself. So this is a simple introduction for us. So let's take a look at the whole. Some of the effects I ran out. Okay. There are still a lot of runners. So let's take a look at an effect of our text class first. So simply ran some text, we are here. They all run with our 2. We can take a look. So I think the biggest surprise to this time is a process of reasoning. Because the inscription on my side is very, very simple. I wrote these words. Then I said it was on a board. Then based on these words, help me deduce the whole motive. Then it will connect and survive on its own. So I think its overall ability is its greatness. The language model is a capability improvement of Gemini. Very, very much. Then basically some of your simple words are basically infallible. We can take a look at this kind of text. Then basically it is without any problems. But there is also a problem. Whether it is the current Pro or our latest 2 model. Its aesthetics are still not improved. Its aesthetics are still very average. Compared with our open source roles, various styles. In terms of aesthetics, the set of set is also very bad. Then we can take a look at some of the effects of these generated tattoo clays. Because there are still a lot of people coming. We can take a quick look. So here are some cyber soul painting styles, right? Its aesthetic sense is indeed a bit weak. Then take a look at its 16 diagrams. In fact, the text is very simple. I wrote an expression that generated the 4 by 46 square meters of Guangdong. These are actually all inferred by himself. So in fact, this principle is the same, whether it's our recent popularity of dance, still including this NanoBanana too, they are actually getting more improvements now. In fact, it all depends on the large language model. So for now, like dance, its overall ability can be weakened. In fact, I think it's not that the ability of video is weakened, but its approximate model. Because too many wheels have dropped the wheel, which has led to a decrease in ability. Okay, and then let's look at some of the other pictures. So here is a comparison chart. Let's take a look. We like this one is actually mainly a text comparison. Then this one definitely goes without saying. Surely our Banana Pro is better. It is for some things that are more Chinese connotation. It may be understood that it is better to have no pro above. So like this simple children's illustration. In fact, I think there is almost no difference. So I'm not sure if I'm the reason for drawing cards in this paragraph. Because all the pictures are drawn at once. I didn't adjust it too often. So in the case of one formation, it is true that our pro is better. So the style migration, I think there is no problem with 3x3. A 9-square grid is basically the same. Well, I don't think it makes any difference. Then we look at the generation of some of these more complex texts. Then I asked him to search directly. And I was very simple here. I said you go and search for one in Shanghai in 2026. Garbage classification, and then generate an introductory diagram. Then it is generated. So if you look at it as a whole, both sides are actually not bad. Whether it's in the details, there are almost no measures for some processing of some texts. So I think the above two is still very good. Compared to one. So here, I deliberately had all 4 of them come from different countries. Then it is just right to express it in different languages. Then one of his side is Chinese and the other is Japanese. One is Korean +1. In English, we as a whole have no problem expressing it. So although I can't understand Korean and Japanese, I'm not sure, right? But at least in English and Chinese, there's nothing wrong with it, right? Basically alright. Then the words here are a migration of a scene. There is no problem. It migrated straight over. Whether it's Banana or Proton, for their part, these abilities are too simple. So when it comes to the 9-square grid, I don't think there are many differences between the two models overall. But overall, the gap between the two models, in fact, it is very small. Let's take a look at some of the performance of real humans on the 9-square grid. Right. In fact, I think it's better to add 2 to this real human compared to our Pro, but in some small details. Relatively speaking, it may still be 2 better. So let's take a look at this simple one at the end. Some generation similar to game covers. Then if the effect on both sides is good, it must be his Pro. Because of the Pro, I have done some self-processing of the text, instead of being a simple one. Introduction of skills. But overall, the biggest problem is aesthetics. The aesthetics of the 3 transactions really need to be greatly improved. Even though he is the opposite of other boundary abilities, he is still relatively strong, but his aesthetic sense is really weak. The workflow is already deployed. You can use it yourself. Then it seems very easy to use. You load the picture yourself, then upload the picture yourself. According to the official statement, it supports the use of up to 14 images. Normally, in fact, you can use 9 quotients enough. Then if you need more pictures, you can copy it, and then take it. Then write our inscription on the topic here. Then here, it is recommended that you must use 4K anyway, because now the price of 4K and 2K is exactly the same. I think 4K is fine. Then the output is normal here. Well, then there is actually nothing to talk about in the work. It is particularly simple. So to summarize at the end, although the release of 2 this time is not as good as our original version of Pro, but it's very normal. Because the benchmark of 2 is actually our previous one. So if you really want to benchmark, it should be 2 Pro to benchmark our current 1 Pro. If we use it every day, I still recommend that you use our version 2. Because its overall quality is relative to our Pro. In fact, the gap is still relatively small. In fact, it is very, very small. If some survive, it will be better than when the effect is not so good. We can use Pro as a supplement. Then we can greatly reduce such costs. Because if you run a price of 0.08 now, I think the burden of everyone running will be low very, very much. It is equivalent to running 1 more than before. We can almost run 4 now. Right. So this video is like this. Let me give you a brief assessment. Then simply upload a workflow. Then you can use it according to your needs.